At 2:30 he will join.
Yes, ma'am.
We had given 2:30 time or 2:15?
2:30.
We had given time 2:30.
Yes, ma'am.
So yes, my dear students of IPDE courses, I think you must be wondering why we have called all of you at a one platform. So I would like to, before we proceed with the speaker of today, I would like to give you a brief about what these IPDE courses are, because almost all of you belong to any one of the IPD courses, the open elective courses that are being floated. So I tell you, students, these courses are being floated by Amity Innovation and Design Center. So you must be knowing, all of you, that at Amity for last 3 years we are working at some faculty members like myself, Dr. Ashish Mani, then Ms. Ekta Singh, then Mr. Saket. So we are all working at Amity Innovation and Design Center, which has been established just 3 years back for starting a culture of innovation, and which may lead to entrepreneurship in the campus. So that is the main motto of this center. We look into the design requirements of all the students of this university. If you have any idea in your mind, we can work out on those ideas, and then we can help you in realizing those ideas in the form of a product in front of you. Okay. So, keeping in view of this, we have started this innovation, product design, and entrepreneurship stream. In short, we call it IPDE. So, this IPD courses, we have around 12 IPD courses of 2 credits each, which are floated in each semester for almost all the students of this university. And the first course that we had is the Innovation by Design course. Uh, where we think of new products, new ideas, and then we work upon how we can realize it in the lab that we have. So we are placed in E3 ground floor, room number G14. So we have innovation lab over there. So if any student who have any idea, they can meet us and we can help you in realizing those ideas. It can be as small as, a small flower pot, and it can be as big as some underwater vehicle, or a robot or something like that. So we work upon all those ideas. The second course that we have is IoT based product design, where we talk about the electronic devices, how they can be controlled, and then data can be collected from remote places, and then they can be analyzed. And for all those IoT based applications, that course is there. Then we have a course on 3D printing. So the students interested, because see, 3D printing, it is a very easy way of realizing again the shape, the form that you visualize of the product that you have in your mind. Then we have digital marketing, we have design thinking, then we have uh, hardware based product design, and then we have cloud based sensor interfacing, and brand design. So all, and UX UI also we have floated. So along with that, we have another course called brand design. We have not floated this time, but previously it saw a very huge response of around 150 students in that course. So we are floating all these innovative courses, and in between what we do, we invite people who are related in these areas. So you will find in many of these sessions, we just not only take the classes or deliver the sessions. Along with that, we relate them to the real life scenario, like people who have a business in 3D printing. They will come and speak to you and talk about the scope of that particular subject. Okay. Or you will find some entrepreneurs who have come up with some innovative product and have started their company, and they will come here and then speak to you. They will share experiences. So these people, they were, about 2 3 bags or 4 year bags, they were in the place where you are today, right? But since they have thought innovatively, okay, they have something in their mind, okay, to do something new, different from others. Okay, so they have the passion to start their own venture, and it's not necessary, that it may lead to a venture. You have to be innovative all the time. Even if you're working for somebody else's organization, you have to be innovative to put your feet there for a long time, or and there are also some people who passionately they work for something different or something new. So it's the passion that the people have in their heart, in their mind, who do differently and take up these different subjects, and you will find these people coming to you often and speaking to you during your courses. So today we have two speakers for you. Ms. Ekta will talk about in details about those two speakers, but to give you a brief about those two speakers, um, one is Mr. Prashant Chaudhary, who will be speaking first, and then we have Mr. Anuj, who will be coming around 3:30 for maybe for some other students who will be attending, who are doing the IPD courses again in some other sessions. So they will again come and join. And these people, when you speak to them, they will share their experience, how they have started, how they have thought of an idea, okay, and how they have realized. So it's not a simple like you have an idea and simply you go to the market and implement those idea. Money is not that much important, okay. It is very much important, but not that much important. The passion that you have with yourself is the most important thing, which matters, okay. So when you listen to these people, you get to know how to relate what you are studying to some real life, real life situations, and why they have chosen to be an entrepreneur, not why to work with others. So all these things, you will hear from these speakers, and they will and you can meet them also, you can come to us also, you can meet these speakers also, discuss if you have some idea or some in your mind, that you want to also establish your own venture, or you want to come up with some new product or idea that you have in your mind, what to do with that product, whether to patent it, okay, or transfer the technology that lies behind it, okay. So all those things you will get to know in these sessions, right? So Saket is the speaker there. Please find out. Dr. Ashish Mani. Uh, Dr. Ashish Mani, you can give some insight also.
Yes, ma'am.
You can also, sir, give some insight into the, the main topic of today, innovation and entrepreneurship.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. So, as we all know that India needs more job creators than job seekers. And you are now well aware of the goal of Indian government to create a $5 trillion economy. Now, in order to achieve these two laudable goals, innovation and entrepreneurship is the way. And why innovation? Because in past 2 decades, we have seen emergence of companies which have been highly successful because they were innovative. And we have also seen that there were highly successful companies and were not sufficiently innovative, so they lost their market share. So innovation is something that we cannot do away with, right? Whether you start your own venture, or whether you join an MNC, or whatever role you are in, innovation is mandatory now, right? And entrepreneurial spirit is equally important because there has been a shift in the economy from agrarian to industrial to information based economy. And when we are dealing with or living in information based economy, then we cannot remain static, or those principles that worked for smokestack era it doesn't apply or doesn't support you in achieving your life goals anymore, right? So you have to be continuously innovative, right? So and I mean, it's not about that by becoming innovative you become another Einstein or another Newton, or from the famous movie Three Idiots of Unsuk Wangdu. You don't, right? Just to survive, right? And more innovative you are, more successful or more success you will see. So for example, I was discussing about companies which were innovative and which have been able to capture their market or be highly successful. One such company is Apple, right? I hope you all have heard about Apple's products like iPod to begin with, which came about decades ago, and then they came up with the smartphones, which actually swamped the market for mobile phones. Previously, there were two famous companies in this mobile phone segment. One was BlackBerry, and the other was Nokia. And when they came up with their products, they were very innovative. But in between, they lost their plot, right? And what we saw that they are now no more in the fray, right? BlackBerry was a market leader in the premium segment, but now nobody uses. I don't see anybody using BlackBerry's phone,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
we
So
have a guest
we
today.
have the speakers. So thank you very much. We will continue this deliberation later. Thank
Sorry,
you.
sorry, Ashish Manisa. We will continue after this talk. Ekta ma'am, over to you. Prashant Chaudhary sir is online right now. Hello, sir.
Thank you, Saket sir. Good evening,
Prashant
ladies
sir,
and gentlemen.
am I audible, Prashant sir?
Yes,
Yes,
Saket,
yes,
you
yes.
are audible.
Okay, Ekta.
Ekta, please start.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as we gather here on this pleasant afternoon on behalf of MIT Innovation and Design Center AIDC and Institutions Innovation Council, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, I extend a very warm welcome to all esteemed dignitaries, fellow faculty members, and our dear students on Innovation and Entrepreneurship Talk Series, Episode 6. We are indebted to our Honorable Founder President Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan and Honorable President RBEF and Chancellor MIT University Uttar Pradesh Dr. Atul Chauhan, who have always encouraged students and faculty to strive higher and work towards their goals. It is because of their vision that MIT University is one of the leading universities in the world. We are highly privileged to mentored by our Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla. She has always been a source of constant motivation and a pillar of strength to all of us. We have with us Professor Dr. Sujata Pandey, Professor EC and Head MIT Innovation and Design Center and Convener Institutions Innovation Council IIC. I now request ma'am to introduce IIC to everyone.
Thank you, Ekta. I think I have spoken to them for about 15 minutes because it started at 3:15. And institution, my dear students, Institution Innovation Council is a part of Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, and IICs are established in almost all the universities and colleges, and students are member of it because they follow a step-by-step approach right from ideation to establishing a venture. So the students who are a member of IIC, they get to know about all the details from the Ministry of Education, what are the various programs they have floated, as well as they can participate in some very prestigious events like National Innovation Contest, Smart India Hackathon. These are the two flagship events of this uh, Innovation Council. So we happen to keep in touch with the students and faculty of other universities and colleges as well. So it's a great platform, to network as well as to gain knowledge. So this is all about IIC, and I think we should not keep our speaker waiting, and I think we can directly start with his talk. Over to you, Ekta.
Thank you, ma'am. I take immense pleasure to introducing our guest speaker for today, Mr. Prashant Chaudhary, founder and CEO Predoc.ai. Mr. Chaudhary has done his graduation BTech in Computer Science and MBA from IMT Ghaziabad. He has over 15 years of experience in software development using AI, ML, and marketing. Mr. Chaudhary has worked for Fortune 500 companies like RBS, Google, Sapient, as well as startups. He is passionate about technology and marketing. Predoc is incubated at MIT Innovation Incubator. Predoc is India's first AI-based audio-visual platform used for diagnostics of symptoms of patient. Predoc aims to be the AI eye and ear of the doctor, detecting disease in the same manner as doctor does using his audio visual senses, but with high accuracy and remotely. So now I would like to invite Mr. Chaudhary to share his journey as an innovator and as an entrepreneur also. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So basically, hello everyone, and thank you for inviting me for this talk. So basically, when the journey that we started, it started last year with Predoc, and as with any other idea and any other company, usually what happens is that you start with one concept, and then when you talk to the customers, you go through the process of developing the product. You actually have to talk to the customers, and then you gather feedback, and then develop the idea further. So we started a little off from what we are right now, actually, but we pivoted, and we converted our idea into an API. We initially wanted to be a mobile app, but then it came out to be an API-based platform. So, and when we started, we connected with the MIT University through its incubator. We applied, we got selected, we won the Codeathon challenge, Grand Challenge 2020. And once we got, we got mentorship and, guidance through MIT. At that point, we were faced with a very challenging problem that, we had to collect COVID coughing sounds, basically. So, a patient who is COVID positive, we had to go to him. We had to ask him that, please cough into our mobile. And we had to gather not just one or two, we had to collect thousands of coughing sounds of these kind of patients, all the COVID positive patients. So initial journey was very, tough, that, we tried to gather some COVID coughing sounds from the net. We couldn't find more than 20, 30 coughing sounds. So, what we tried, going to other hospitals and asking them, if they are willing to let us go into the COVID wards and collect coughing sounds. Most were not really, supportive in that sense. But as with the Apple CEO, the Steve Jobs, as he said, that you always have to ask. And when he was 12-year old, so I remember the story that when he was 12-year old, he called up the founder of HP, Bill Hewlett, sorry. So and he asked that, hey, I'm Steve Jobs. I'm trying to develop some frequency modulator, something, and I'm wondering if you have some spare parts. And yes, HP founder replied, and he sent all the parts that Steve Jobs required. So you have to ask, and then you have to try. So now I did the same thing. I went to around 15 hospitals. 14 denied. The 15th one was LNJP Hospital, which is the largest largest COVID hospital in North India. It has 2,000 COVID beds, and they understood the problem. They were very supportive, and they allowed us to gather COVID coffin sounds. So we were we then we went through a collaboration procedure, and then we had to go inside the COVID wards and collect the COVID coffin sounds. The problem was that nobody was willing, and if you try to hire somebody for, let's say, 1,000 rupees a day, even then the person would say, why would I go inside the COVID ward and risk my. So I actually hired one guy initially, and I had to go inside the COVID wards myself. And I went inside. I trained him that this is how you have to ask the patients, and this is how you have to collect the data. Once I trained him, we had more people. He had the he trained the rest of the people, and that's how the cycle started. But then initially, as a founder, you have to go and get your hands dirty, even if it's a COVID ward. So that's what we did, and thankfully we gathered around 5,000 COVID coffin sounds, 5,000 patients coffin sounds, and it is the largest after Vadmani Foundation, who has 3,500, MIT US. Uh, they have around 2,600. So it is the largest COVID coffin data set that we gathered. And so this was not very easy to do. Even we received some funding as well from MET, through MET incubator only. So they were very helpful in that. And we are in using that data, we have developed the AI for diagnosing coughing sounds for COVID symptoms. So basically, we're in process of getting the field trial and the clinical trials right now. So that has been the journey. Yeah, as a founder, yeah, another thing that I want to share is that if you are trying to find you have an idea, and you feel like you want to develop the product, and you are, let's say, a tech guy, or let's say you're a marketing guy. It doesn't matter who you are. Either you have to get your hands dirty in everything, not just the development of the product or the marketing. If you're a techie guy, you have to do the marketing as well. You have to do the operations as well. If you're a marketing or a MBA guy, you have to even get into the technicalities as well. Either get a co-founder who's a techie guy who can develop the product, or you have to get it, learn and get inside the technology as well. So it doesn't matter what kind of a background you have to get into everything as a founder. So that has been our journey, and that's it from my side. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prashant. Now, because second speaker has not joined yet, so the floor is open for question and answers from students. So, students, please, it's a golden opportunity to talk to an entrepreneur directly, face to face. I request you to ask a few questions to our speaker.
Students, you may discuss anything about the entrepreneurship, and if you have a plan to open any industry, any company, then you can take idea from sir. Anybody can ask. Anyone? Yes. Yeah, Shobhi, please.
Yes, sir. So, good evening, sir.
Uh, Shobhi, just increase your volume. Actually, you are not audible clearly.
Am I audible now?
Yes, now you are audible.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. So, I have a doubt, sir, regarding a different field of work, which is not related to our engineering and the stuff. And the thing is that I have seen that you all have noticed that there's an increase of share market in for Zomato. The shares have increased drastically, and people have started investing in Zomato, and the reason is that they are trying to implement a new technology, not a new technology, a new system, that is the cloud kitchen. And they are
Yeah.
basically able to do so because they have the customer data, which is and customer data is something which is far more important than the financial and all the other aspects, because customer data is everything, right? So if I want to do something, or any one of us wanted to do the same thing, like something related to cloud kitchen or something, but we don't have that much of experience and we don't have that much of customer data. So what are the tactics, or what are all the advice you would like to give to cope up with all this consistent, जो already market में है competitor, how to deal with them?
So in the food segment industry only, or you mean to say
In
in the
in every aspect, sir, in every aspect. Because Zomato also is dealing with they have a pretty good supply chain policy also. Okay, they will be able to supply the raw material in a very cheaper prices, which the new competitors or the entrepreneurs like us, if we try to do so, we won't be able to match their or meet their kind of stuff. So what are your guidance?
Yes, so cloud kitchen is not a concept invented by Zomato, or it's coming up with something new. It's has been existing in US from quite some time. If any of you watch Shark Tank, I think in last 3 years ago I saw one session of Shark Tank where they mentioned this cloud kitchen, and it has been there in the US, and it's basically uh, being brought over here. So it's not just Zomato's monopoly over it, that it's doing on its own, and so it will be multiple companies will come in. Cloud kitchen is a common place where you can you can just hire the kitchen and make your food and deliver without having any physical entity of your own physical your own personal space. So in that sense, it's something that uh, anybody can do, the cloud kitchen and other things. But if you want to start with the I'm sorry, what actually you wanted to start?
So my main question was how to deal with the already existing competitors, like these giant companies who already exist in the market and they have a
So you,
huge
okay.
market share and
Okay,
customer
so
data.
it's a very simple answer to that question. It's not very hard to do that. It's when you start and you have big players inside the segment that you want to target, and you want to start something. So what you need to do is you need to find a niche. You have to segregate the market and find a specific, very specific niche, that I'm going to target these kind of customers for these kind of who have these kind of behavioral aspect, these kind of demographics, these kind of psychographics. So exactly pinpoint that kind of customers. So when you pinpoint and target very specific kind of customer in a very specific niche, so at that point you are not actually competing directly with the big players, because they are very generic. So there's a very good book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. If you read that, it mentions the red ocean and the blue ocean. So red ocean is where a lot of fishes are, and you are if you try to fish in enter the red ocean, you'll be eaten by the sharks. But there is a blue ocean as well, where you create your own blue ocean, which is your specific niche, where you target and you're outside that red ocean segment. So basically, instead of directly competing with the let's say, for example, we take Zomato. So instead of directly competing with that, create something where you target specific foodie, let's say keto. Okay, that's a keto diet is very prevalent right now. So Zomato is not keto specific. If you want to target create a new blue ocean, and you want to target a specific niche, target the keto diet people, and just create an app for keto only. So that ways you are not competing with the Zomato. And what will happen is that either they are going to come after you, or they're going to acquire you, or but sooner or later that will happen only after you have already developed, and you have a good customer base, and you have started generating quite a lot of revenue. Only then it will happen. Otherwise, you can specifically target that niche and start your app without worrying about the bigger competitors. Just create your own niche, the blue ocean.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Please discuss. Yes, the slope.
What was
Slope.
he saying? Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, Slope, you are audible.
I just wanted to add on to the previous question. Essentially, like Cloud Kitchen is the idea where you create a restaurant which is delivery only, and it's most times it's not even owned by the person. So if example you create one named XYZ, you don't actually own the restaurant. You're just essentially renting the restaurant, and all you do is you're just supplying the food. You make the food. Well, people who work for you, they make the food and they send it off. So essentially, this premise was explored by this YouTuber. His name was Mr. Beast, and he has his own this cloud kitchen type of concept. It's called Beast Burgers, and you're able to. I think he's able to get around 900 locations or 800 locations all over the world, and so he was able to create this demand on the basis of two things. First, he's an influencer, so he was able to utilize his skills as an influencer. He's a really famous YouTuber, so he was able to utilize that. But then also this really new concept where people I think it's with the younger generation, this concept that come up with is like FOMO, so the fear of missing out. So he really utilized that, right? If there's an app which is getting really famous, even though you maybe not be interested in that app, you go and you download it just so that you're not missing out on what's actually happening, right? If TikTok's really blowing up, you go and you see what is it that's really making TikTok. So I think it's important to create demand, and you can create demand through a lot of tools can be utilized. A lot of other techniques can be utilized. And an example is just using influencing and using something which is just really popular among the teens, because the concept of this kitchens, cloud kitchens, I think it'd be really essentially it would be more attractive to people who are younger rather than someone who's a little bit older. So people who are the coming up generation, they'll be more interested in it. So your target audience needs to be someone who is tech savvy and who can really be influenced quite easily just by somebody having fame or creating that perception that you're going to miss out if you don't come onto this bandwagon. So I think you could utilize that.
So I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Oh, Shlok.
Yeah, so I didn't get it. That is there a question in there, or is that information?
I wanted to add on to just give him the person, I forgot what his name was, what he was asking. So he was asking how to create demand if there's so many competitions. So I wanted to give him an example that there's many ways you can create demand. One is by influence. If you're a really famous person, then you can influence, but it's all about, so you can use different tools to create demand. It's about creating demand so that somebody wants your product. And so if you're able to achieve that, then I think it's much easier to compete. So that's what I thought.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Lok, for giving us the important points. Sitesh, do you have any question, please?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I have two questions. They both are a bit hazy, but I just have to ask them. So the first question is it possible
Sitesh, you are
for...
not audible. Yes, Sitesh.
Sir, am I audible now?
Sitesh?
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, Sitesh, you are audible.
Yes, now you are audible.
Okay. So
Please.
as I was saying, sir, my questions are might be a bit hazy, but I just have to ask them. Uh, is it possible for one single startup or a company to change the tide of a nation's economy if that startup is somehow strategically built to change the habits of the entire economical ecosystem in which it inhabits? Or would
Yeah,
it be
I think
just too big of a task?
no, it can. I'll tell you, there's one company, Impri, that we were together. The founder of Impri was together with us in one conference, and we met. And they were actually there. What they are doing is they're into policy making, and the government, whatever the policy government makes, they are a startup which actually guides the companies, the NGOs, and government in terms of the policy making decisions. They are not just a simple, just regulatory. Just a guidance thing. They are activists as well. They file RTIs. They try to impact the government decisions, and they collaborate with other companies and NGOs and big corporates as well, where they understand the kind of rules and policy decisions that should be made, in which can favor the corporates and the help the economy develop in a faster pace. And then they talk to the government, and provide their inputs, and everything that they do is basically they try to impact the entire economy of the country using the policy making decisions. So that's just a small example that I had seen in my life. And now there are other examples that you can actually create a company which can actually impact the entire economy as well. But that then you have to take the company to a very higher level, like become a Apple kind of a startup. You'll have to spend 10 years to make it a billion, 10 billion, or $100 billion company. That will take time. But then if you want to impact the economy, and you can do a startup where your decisions, your actions impacts the government as well as the other sectors, just like Impri.
Yes, so my second question is similar to the first one. It is, can a group of startups all bunched together supplement for the needs of the businesses and the entrepreneurs for what the government cannot provide by the means of mutual cooperation?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Can a group of startups all bunched together supplement for the needs of the businesses and the entrepreneurs for what the government cannot provide by the means of mutual and external cooperation?
Yeah, the companies can, though the government is very helpful in these kind of things, and the government has very generous schemes as well, where they provide help to the startups. But then the support to startups these days is so much that you don't need the government support as well. If your idea is good, you're having traction, good traction, and you're progressing, then you have outside investors, as well as the ecosystem. The entire ecosystem is such that uh, you can without the help of government, you can sustain.
Okay, so it would be safe to consider that though everything is fluid, it's fine and all this is possible.
Yes, it
All
is.
right, so thank you very much.
Any other question? Okay, Sagar. Sagar,
Yes, ma'am. I just want to contradict the Shilok's statement, as he was saying like we should use the influencers. So rather than using influencers, we should basically target the influencer which have less, basically a medium reach, rather than contacting a famous influencer. From my side, like I think this is more, we can say, more reliable, like nano influencing, I would say, because reaching 10,000 people rather than reaching 1,000 people with 10,000 followers will be amazing.
Okay, thank you, Sagar. Thank you for adding your views.
Could I
Shlok.
clarify? Yeah, could I just clarify? I just wanted to say I didn't mean to use influencers. I meant that you can create demand by different mediums. So one of that medium could be an influencer, but then the other thing was I mentioned was FOMO, the fear of missing out, which is really relevant in the younger generation. So that's what I meant to say, just to clarify. It's not saying using influencers, but there's different means you can utilize, mediums you can utilize to create demand, and that demand can come through either your product's really good or you just have really good marketing teams that can sell your product really well.
Okay, anybody else who want to ask something from the expert? Guys, if you have any question, then you may ask. You may discuss anything.
If there are no questions from the student side, then I want to ask a question.
Please, sir.
Sure, sir, sure.
To Mr. Prashant Chaudhary. Very nice exposition. I would like to know about how did you estimate your value proposition for a pitch to investors?
Okay, so the value proposition and the pitch to investors is something that for now we have not really focused much on, but now the value proposition is pretty much clear in our product that if it's a COVID screening product, so the value proposition comes up clear front face as well. It's not something that we really need to emphasize much on. And for now, we are not even looking for investors right now. We have sufficient funding from the government, as well as we are even we got an opportunity to talk to 100x.vc, but we just passed that. Because currently we don't require pitching and funding right now.
Okay, that's good. But I mean, how would you translate the value that you are creating into rupees? I mean, how much it is worth?
So that is complete forecasting and complete financials that we have prepared. So you have to estimate the target market, the total available market, the total the market that you can capture. So from the entire total available market, you have to figure out what is your target segment, what is the target inside that target segment. What is the part that you will be targeting, and then what is the estimated revenue generation that can be gathered from that specific segment of the market. And then you calculate the total revenue, the total profit, and like forecasting that you have to do. And that is something that's an exercise that we have done quite extensively, and we had prepared the entire budget as well, and that this is the kind of the next 12 months budget that we'll require. These are the people we'll hire. This is from the money that we get. This is the these are the number of clients that we are targeting. So from that, this will be the X will be the revenue, Y will be the profit. So that entire exercise has to be done, and that was done pretty extensively.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prashant, for sharing your insights and experience with our students. Now I would like to call Mr. Saket Kumar, Head Innovation and IPR, AIDC, to present the vote of thanks to our first speaker.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor for me to express my gratitude to everyone present here today. I, on behalf of Amity Innovation and Design Center, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, and Institutions Innovation Council, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the speaker for this session on Innovation and Entrepreneurship Talk Series, and also inform about several things and about the journey of an entrepreneur. The success story is very impressive and inspirational of Mr. Prasant Chaudhary. His experience and words are a lot of work to all of us. I further thanks all the participants for joining this, and we have one more talk at 3:30 p.m. So till that, Dr. Ashish Mani sir will give you the knowledge of IIC and entrepreneurship. So till then, thank you Prasant sir to joining us, and we hope we will connect it to you in the future also.
Thank you very much.
Thank you Prasant sir. So guys, we have Dr. Ashish Mani sir, Head Entrepreneurship and Startups in Design Center. So he will inform you about the entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurship career in through Amity. So Ashish Mani sir, please. Over
Thank
to
you, Saket. Dear students, if you have any questions, you can raise them now or even during the course. I guess I will be speaking for next 20 minutes or so. So, Saket, please let me know once the invited speaker has joined us.
Sir, he will join. He will join at 3:30.
Okay. So, students, any questions? Yes, Sitesh, please go ahead.
So again, two questions. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
So India has a workforce of almost 480 million people, and its dependency ratio is decreasing, and both of these things are good. But is it possible, or is it just true that this might become a liability as automation might take away huge amounts of jobs?
Okay, that's a good question, but and this fear that automation will take away jobs is nothing new. I mean, when IBM came up with
Yes, sir.
their first set of computers, right? Even at that point in time, there was some loss of jobs. I'm not saying that technology doesn't result in loss of job, but it ends up creating even more jobs. So what my personal take on it, that as we advance more, we will have newer kinds of jobs, right? So reskilling of manpower would be required, and there will always be enough jobs for a good reskilled manpower.
So, but because of technological advancements, those jobs require specific skills, and most of our workforce does not have those skills. So that might become a huge problem in the future.
So, skilling itself would become a good industry, which
Okay.
will employ many of us, right?
Okay, sir.
So,
Okay.
I mean, somehow the nature of our existence is such that if we solve one problem with technology, we create five more problems with the same technology. And to
Oh,
solve them, we again need people, innovative ideas, right? Until or
all right.
unless a kind of a crisis, I mean, what you're saying uh, could become true if there comes a crisis. Like you are from BTech IT, I
Yes, sir.
hope you would have heard about that there was a crisis about two and a half decades ago in software development field, because
Yes, sir.
right, but somehow
Yes.
that didn't stop us from developing good softwares, and that didn't stop companies. Companies like based on IT, right? Coming up and capturing the market. Like Google was not there 20 years ago, 20 or 25 years ago, or even a Facebook was not there, right? But these companies have come up, and they are more valued than the established companies like General Electric or General Motors or Siemens.
Okay, so second question, keeping the geopolitics, the economical numbers, and other important factors between the top 10 economies of the world, where should India focus? Should it be industries and manufacturing, services, or same old agriculture? Where should India thrust?
So, not at all agriculture, because that's already overburdened, right? There are more number of people employed in agriculture than required, and so it's actually dragging our economy behind.
All right, sir.
Right, and amongst the other sectors that you have mentioned, services is one of the strengths of Indian economy, right?
Yes, sir.
So maybe we can focus more on that. But what I would suggest if India could focus more on deep tech, emerging technologies like quantum computing, right? Or to a certain extent, technologies, upcoming technologies like
Heavy high-end innovations, basically.
yes, if we could. But so far we have just been followers, right? Whatever unicorns that we have created in India are merely imitations, right? From Flipkart
Right,
to
sir.
to
Right.
to So nothing new is coming. Something like Google did 25 years ago, or what Facebook did about 20 years ago, right? We are not seeing any of those kinds of startups coming up in India. Of course, I'm not saying that Flipkart is not a success. It's a success, and in startup world, it's said that you should be the last mover, not the first mover. By last mover, what we mean is that once you enter that space, right, you take competition to such a height that normally no other companies would like to get into that field.
The last move is advantage.
No, it's not advantage. You are just last mover, right? So after that, the competition is so high that nobody will dream of getting into it. Like nobody is, there are so many startups coming up. Is there any startup coming up in the space of search engines? No. Okay, and similar, there is none as successful as Facebook and Twitter in their own domains, right? So, so somehow you will see that if you enjoy that last mover, if you can become the last mover in any segment, that means you have a monopoly kind of a thing. And for a startup, monopoly is good, not for the consumer, but for the startup. Like Google is a monopoly, Facebook is essentially a monopoly in its own domain.
Okay, sir.
Right. So I guess we have been joined by our guest Anuj. Hi Anuj.
Hi
Long
Ashish.
time no see you.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing you. So I will end it over here. And students, I am always around. Anuj is not. Anuj is a busy man. So remaining questions we can take up some other day, right? Or you are free to reach to me. Some of you are in my course. Others, I will put my email ID and phone number on the chat, so you can take it from there and reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish Mani sir. Okay, students. So now I would like to invite our second guest, Mr. Anuj Kumar, co-founder and CIO, Cloud Shopping Technologies Private Limited. Mr. Anuj Kumar is one of the MIT alumni. He has done his graduation from MIT University, Lucknow, and masters from Manipal University. Mr. Anuj Kumar has worked in service-based companies HCL for around 3 years and then 2.5 years in product-based company Synopsys. So with 5.5 years of excellent industrial experience, he started his own venture in January 2016. In last 5 years, the company have grown from 0 employees to more than 30 employees at present. He is a technical architect who is known for building highly efficient and flexible technical architectures that can be scaled on demand. So now I would like to invite Mr. Anuj Kumar to share his journey with our students.
Thanks, Ekta. Thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity where I can share my experiences with the young blood of our country. So, so previously also I was trying to interact with the students, but due to some reasons I was not able to participate. So this time I especially molded everything to make sure that I attend this event and share my experiences with the students. So first of all, thank you for giving me an opportunity to interact with the students. And so I think we have 233 students. So interactive sessions will not be possible in this case. But I would like to, if it had been a face-to-face interaction, then I would definitely would like to have an interactive session where I can interact with the students and we can take up questions also. So just to before starting, just to give you a brief about myself. So I am Anuj, and basically during my BTech times, so I am a serial entrepreneur, no doubt, and I have started and run a number of businesses, and I have been doing it from my BTech first year. So during my BTech first year, I led the foundation of a company known as Aviskar Netmart Private Limited. There we used to develop a lot of softwares in various programming languages. And during my BTech, when the time during my BTech in the last 3 years, in the fourth, when I was in last semester, so at that time I was having multiple offices in Lucknow, and there was a number of developers, a number of marketing people, number of operations people. There were more than 20-30 people staff I was having in Lucknow. And there comes the difficult part, because till the time you are in BTech, right? So you have the power to grow at any pace, at any direction, at any time, right? But after the BTech, you need to build your career, right? So there was a very difficult decision that I have to take at that time, that I was placed in HCL from the campus. So I have to take a decision that whether to join HCL Technologies or to keep running whatever I was running at that time. A very difficult decision, but I took a decision with an estimated time frame. So what I decided is that I'll be joining Cloud Shopping. I will be joining HCL Technologies, and the reason for me taking that decision was because in my own company I was limited to very specific things. For example, I was not able to do very big projects, right? And even, to be very frank, I do not know how to do those big projects, right? For example, let's say there is a project which, let's say, costs around 50 lakh rupees, right? So in that project there is a number of expectations that customers have, and I do not have a team which can deliver those expectations as per the customer demand. So due to those reasons, those projects were always missed from my side, and I was only doing few smaller projects, let's say 5 lakh, 2 lakh, 10 lakh rupees project only. So this is the reason that I thought that I should, and plus one of the major challenge was that, I want to learn how to handle teams, how to work with the teams, how to make people work. So what I did is I took a internal target of, doing job for 5 years, and I was determined to, start my own venture again after 5 years. Once I have the, working experience of a big corporates, that how big corporates work. So I left my own organization, and then I joined HCL Technologies, worked in HCL, then worked in Synopsys for 3 years. So after around 5.5 years, so again the same thing triggered off, because a person who want to be an entrepreneur can never be in service industry for very long. So even we have seen a number of people in the service industry that are that they are all doing jobs, and everyone wish to come out of that job and want to launch their own stuff, but they do not do not have that much inspirations and power to just start their own venture. So that was again a very difficult time, because at the time when I took a decision that okay, after 5 years I'll be starting my own journey, at that time I was not married, I was not having kids, so any decision can be taken at that time. But after 5 years I was married, I was having kids, and no doubt there was an house, and when there is a house there's an EMI going on, a number of loans, a number of things. So it was not very easy decision to leave everything and start from fresh, from starting. So MIT is an institute that has helped me at everything. So at that time I started doing PhD from MIT Noida campus, and thus I was I got a very small sitting place in MIT Innovation Incubator, where I even get some mentors from there. Mr. Ayan was there to help me in everything, and so we started very office in MIT Innovation Incubator, and since it was MIT Innovation Incubator, so I was not charged anything, right? And when you are a startup, and if you are getting an office space for which you do not need to pay any rent, that is a very, very, very huge addition, because you do not have to invest anything, right? So I started building my product, the imaginary product, supercomputer, or say, and super e-commerce platform that I was trying to build up. Then again a very big turn come after maybe around 6 months from that time, that after 6 months of leaving my job and building up an infrastructure, I was having discussions with my mentors at MIT. So they told me that whatever you are doing will fail. So I said that no, it cannot fail. So I am a very good experienced person in doing business and all those stuff, and it can never fail. And because anyone saying to me that it will fail when I have a huge load of EMIs, I have kids, I have wife, and everything everyone has to be fed. And even I invested, after leaving my job, I invested my 6 months, and then the product is almost ready, and someone saying to me that it will fail is something very, very big thing for me. So the discussion went on for around I think 7 days. Daily we used to come and discuss the same topic, that why it will fail and why it will not fail. But eventually I learned something from there as well. So I learned that yes, things could have been failed, because there was a number of reasons, right? So I'll not go into those details, but the measure or the summary was that when we think of any product, or when we think very innovatively about any pain point of the consumers, so we forget the actual ground realities, right? And especially the thing that we'll forget is that we can build a product, but to launch a product we need money, and we do not need money, we need a lot of money, and to get a lot of money we need again the money, right? If we do not have, let's say, X amount of money, we cannot make it 10x, and which if we do not have 10x, we cannot make 100x, right? So the step one of laying a foundation to any company is there should be a revenue generation model. It can be a small model which can generate small money, but it should at least generate some money which can be scaled up to generate more money, right? In our model, our failure point was that we were not having a revenue generation model from the starting. So revenue generation was a part of the fourth phase, but till 3 phases we have to invest. And no doubt we will, generally what happens is that even if we cross the first phase, we'll stuck at second phase. If by chance we cross the second phase, we will stuck at third phase. but in fourth phase we need that money. So basically we rewind everything. Then we again had a discussion that what should we do. Then we have to come up with something which can start generating money for us. And there comes there comes the cloud telephony. So basically we again put our heads together that what can be done. And then we again found out a major pain point that was there, and it was cloud telephony. So we started working in cloud telephony, and from that time till now we from day one we have that learning in our place, that we developed a very small product first in cloud telephony, that was a missed call product. We start selling that product, we start generating some revenues from that missed call product. Then from that single product we added to our portfolio then other product, the IVR product. Then from that IVR we moved into the toll free services, bulk voice calls, SMSs, and now we have a huge portfolio, right? So the key of my learning that I want to share with you is that whenever you build your business plan, right, make sure that you have a revenue generation model integrated into the first phase of your journey, such that you start generating money. Because what happens is, generally if we invest a lot of our money into the first phase and we do not have a revenue generation model even in the second phase or the third phase, so eventually we will fail due to lack of money. Secondly, one thing also I want like to clear here is that whenever we run a business, so generally there is a myth that the business fails due to lack of money, right? According to me, it never fails due to lack of money. It fails due to lack of planning, because money can be generated using planning, right? Generally what happens is that, let's say to run a business we need 50 lakh rupees, right? But you have 1 lakh rupees, right? So you can generate 50 lakh from that 1 lakh if you have a proper planning strategy, right? Let's say you do not want to put up a very big unit for now, you can set up a small unit in which the investment is 1 lakh rupees, and from there you can generate 2 lakh rupees, and then again set up a unit which cost initial cost of 2 lakh rupees, and then generate more money from there, right? So scale depend upon your your hard work, that how much hard work you are doing. But truly speaking, the businesses do not fall down due to lack of money. They fall down because lack of planning, right? Even if someone is having a lot of money, right, sometimes that lot of money becomes the reason of failure, because initially he will invest that lot of money to make his business stand, and but that is not a revenue generation, that is a static money that he's having, so that is burned out. And once the money is burned out, so he do not have money to run his daily operations, and things will fall down, right? So even if you have money, you should have a very smart plan and a long-term plan to invest that money into proper revenue generation strategies. And when we run a business, so there comes the time when you fail, right? So no one can reach a success without a failure, right? So when you run a business, so when will you call it as failure? You will call it as a failure only when you accept that it is a failure, right? For example, let's say you failed, but you do not accept that failure. What you did is you just take the learning from that failure, treat that failure as the first step towards success, and then take those learning, put it into the second phase, and again iterate and do your stuff and make sure that things are into the right direction. Because success is not in your hand, right? But failure is in your hand, because success will come at its own cost and at its own time. But failure can come as soon as you accept that it is a failure. So when you accept it is a failure, you are failed at that time. But if you do not accept that, no, I am not failed, this is a learning that I have learned from this particular event, and I'll put that learning into the first phase of my business, and then make sure that I'll execute the second phase in a better way. So this is how you should move ahead, right? Now since I think most of the candidates here are the BTech guys, so I would like to iterate one very important thing, that I do a lot of interviews for BTechs, right, who want to do job at my company. So there's a myth that most of the BTech guys want to do technical stuff. If there's someone who has done BTech CS, he just want one thing, that he want to be a developer, right? Or PHP kare, Python kare, and any of the programming language he want to do, but he just want to be a developer. He do not want to be a salesperson, right? But practically speaking, BTech guys are fantastic guys even for the sales, right? So in my company, most of the sales are from the BTech, and they are doing fantastic. And even financially, they are paid. They are always paid more than the technical guys. So basically, what I want to say is that everyone has their own skill set, right? So you should choose a field that suits best to your skill set. If you are not meant for coding, then it does not mean that you are gone and now nothing can be done. No. If you are not, if you are chosen BTech CS as your stream for BTech, and you are not good at programming, so you can always try yourself into sales. You can try yourself into marketing, and there is a number of things that do not need a number of technical skills, and they are having an excellent opportunities for you to grow and develop, right? At my company, the sales is paid higher than the technical. This is the practical truth, right? And because sales is something that is bringing money or bringing revenues to the company, right? If we talk about even the hierarchies, right? So if you want to be the topmost position at a company, let's say the CEO of the company, right? So the probability is, if you are going from technical side, then the reaching to the CEO is difficult. But if you are going from the business side, right? If you are going from the sales side, and you are a very good salesperson and handles a very number of vast portfolio of customers, understand the product very well, pitch the product very well, has a very well understanding of the product. So for you coming from the sales background, going even to the CEO's position is very high. Probability is very high. So for all BTech guys, do not bind yourself to the technical stuff, even if you're not good at technical. So make sure you analyze yourself, check yourself, and see what is the best skills that you have, and work in that best skills, right? And entrepreneurship is a field which is fantastic. So even if you are not good at technical, you can hire someone who is good at technical, and build your own company and your own startup, and even give jobs to your friends and colleagues or other persons who are there who need jobs, right? So there are some times when for example, the product that we develop, right? The product that I develop at Cloud Shopee Technologies. So I generally make sure that I develop a product such that 10x, if at some time the traffic has increased by 10x, right? So the product should not die. It should be still stand, right? So whenever we develop a product, we keep the scalability in mind, and we make sure that it is 10x scalable, right? But I have seen in the past, throughout my journey, that there are times when the product scalability needed is 100x. For example, let's say we have the capacity of sending only 1 lakh calls a day, but there's a customer who need to send, let's say, 100 lakhs call, 1 crore calls a day, right? But our infrastructure is not supported for that traffic, right? So these are the things that whenever you will start with your journey of entrepreneurship, you will also face the same thing, right? That the demand all of a sudden came in, and the demand is very high to reach and nearly impossible, right? So there comes the special part, the special skills, where you need a lot of patience, right? Because every problem has a solution, but we need to be very patient. We need to have patience, and think of a problem from all possible angles, and see that how that problem can be solved, right? So at that time we need to see from all angles. For example, let's say if the campaign is of let's say 10 days, can we ask the customer to extend the number of days? Can we make sure that the hours on which we are sending the calls, can they be stretched from morning or to evening to some days? Can the breaks be removed off? How soon can the servers be upgraded to suit the customer infrastructure? For example, let's say it takes 3 days. So after 3 days, we can definitely scale up. So there's a number of things that can happen, but those solutions will only come to your mind if you are very calm and comfortable and looking at the problem to solve it. Because you cannot say no. You cannot say no, I'll not do it, or I cannot do it, until and unless it is really that big that you cannot do it. At that time, you should definitely say no to the customer. But if there's even a single 1% chance that you can do it, you should put your full effort and make sure that you do it, right? So that times come in at a number of time. So just a small tip: if you want to start your own business, because you are all students, right? You do not have a lot of time because you have to do your regular college work also, and maybe you do not have a lot of money also. So if you want to start your business, so the best time to start your business is now. Means you should not stop. You should, even just as soon as we disconnect this call, you should start thinking that what you can start. You should not wait for your BTech to complete. You should not wait for someone to give you a lecture to start with, right? You should start now, right now. What can you do right now? So my suggestion, so you are all very intelligent and you can think of very good innovative ways, but my suggestion is that you can do something very, very simple and obvious, and the major, such that you improve your skills into such that the major things you can do. For example, you can buy some there is a number of resellers available, resellership available for a number of things. For example, the resellership of website hostings, servers, domains, the resellership of cloud telephony. For example, we are also a cloud telephony provider. Similarly, there are other cloud telephony provider like Ozone-Tel is there, Knowledge is there, Exotel is there, CloudShopee is there, Serve is there, right? So these are the cloud telephony vendors. Similarly, we have a number of softwares in the market who have built their own softwares and they have a channel partnership program associated with them, right? So what you can do is you can search those things on the net, see whoever is offering their channel partnership. You should take a channel partnership program from them and become their channel partner. And after becoming their channel partner, understand their product very well and start selling that product. No doubt every channel partner is having their own margins. So start making some small margins, start generating your own leads and start selling other products. Because when you will sell other products, you will know the market. You will know the customer pain points. And slowly and gradually, you will build up your own thought process that what are the pain points that his product is not solving, which you can solve, right? And you already have some product in your hand who is ready to buy those products, right? So that is a fantastic start. So to start your entrepreneurship journey, you do not need a very good product at the start. Do not waste your time in building your product on your own. Just start selling the product that is already in the market, build your market, and then when you know about the market, then improve the product, and then you can go further. But start now. Don't waste your time. Ekta, I think we are up with the time, right?
No, it's okay, sir. It's okay. You can carry on. We have time.
Okay. So, if you are starting with an entrepreneurship journey, so a very important decision is whom to work with, which partner to choose. Because if you will work alone, so there are times that at some bad times where things are not comfortable. At that time, you will leave everything and switch to another thing, or leave everything and switch to your job, right? So when you are more than one, so you get a lot of support from your partner at the time of the need, right? Because you are two people, so there are two minds looking at the same problem statement, and so finding out a better solution for the problem is probability is very high. So my preference is that work in a team. So do not start your business alone. Have at least one partner. So having three partners is having 2 partners plus you means a total team of 3 members is really very good, but minimum 2 is required. And the partner that you choose, make sure that partner is having the alternative skills. His skill set and your skill set should not be same, preferably. It should not happen that I am taking him as a partner because he is my friend, right? Because he's friend right now, but when you come to business, so there is a lot of things that you both need to do. If both of your skill set is same, then in that case, you will both be solving the same problem in the same way, right? If the skill set is different, let's say someone is very good at technical and someone is very good at talking or communication skills or selling things, so they can both tie up. One can look at the technical stuff and one can look at the sales and business marketing and all those stuff, right? Similarly, there can be other skill set also. So whenever you do a partnership, you make sure that you have a partner with an alternative skills and whom you can trust. So trust is very important factor. So you should not become a partner with someone whom you do not trust or you have less trust on, because it happens a lot of time that only trust can save you, because both of you are correct at your own place, right? But you need to trust each other at that time, right? And one very important thing is that why startup fail. Most of the time the startup fails because startup do not start. So most of the time what happen is that we think of something that, okay, I'll build this, I'll build this, I'll build this, right? And you keep on thinking, okay, I'll build this and this and this, but you never build it, you never start it. And since you never start it, you are already failed. And someone from your neighborhood or someone from other university, other college, other country will bring up the same concept. And then you will say, oh, this is something I initially thought of 5 years before, but I did not start it. If I would have started it, I would also have done that much great job. So the first thing that startup fails is because they do not start. If you are not, if you are not, if you have not started anything, so you are already failed. So first thing you should do is you should start doing something, right? You should start doing something, because there's some chances of success only if you start. If you do not start, you are already failed. The second thing is, even if when you start and you fail, right, do not stop. Take feedback from that failure, put it into the second phase and start again. Never stop. When I started my entrepreneurship journey on the second phase after doing job, so I was having no reason to say no, because everything was on stake. A lot of EMI, family, a lot of pressure from everywhere. There was no financial streams. There was no, the financial backup was not there. Everything was on at risk. So I was not having any chance. I cannot say that no, I cannot do it, right? So that should happen to you also, even if you have those leverages, those things with you, that you can say no. Because whenever you start, make sure you, whatever you start, you finish that thing in a proper way every time, right? So and one more thing that I want to share is that a lot of startups start their business, and they start their business, why? Because they want to get funded at some time, right? And I think that is a very weak foundation, because what happens is that whenever they start, so from that time only they start thinking of funding, that when I'll get funding. They do not have a product prototype, they do not have a POC, they do not have any working financial model, and they start building their pitch deck to show to the investors and get funded, right? See, even investors will fund to a team which has something in it, right? So there was a time when ideas were funded, but as of now ideas are not funded. If whatever idea you have, it will not be funded until and unless you have a POC, you have a proof of concept. you can show them that, see, this is an idea, this is a small implementation, these are some sample customers, I am getting revenues, and this is why I managed to generate to scale up this revenue. So whenever you start, do not start with an assumption that you will be funded, right? Start with the assumption that you will have to build your own company and you will have to run that company, right? And you do not need any fund from anyone, right? So at correct time, the time will come when you have everything with you. You have a number of employees, you have a revenue generation stream, you are generating revenues, everything is first class, and then at that time you should start building your pitch decks, and then start hunting for the funds, right? You should not start hunting for funds from day one, because what happens is that if you start hunting for funds from day one, you generally lose focus from your core businesses, and you just core business go on a side base, and you start whole team members is start making their pitch decks and try to make fund, and everything is gone in vain, and then finally things has to be shut down. Yeah, so that's it that I have today to share with the students.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anuj. You have shared many points that students would have asked you if you do not share it. Failures, the points that they must, think that they must keep in their mind, especially when to go for funding, when to go to identify that we need money and what we must have in our hand to go for funds. Okay, thank you so much. Now the floor is open for question and answers. So students, if you would like to ask a few questions to our speaker, although we do not have much time, so keep that in that constraint in your mind. If you have some question, please raise your hand and ask. Yes, Palak.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Palak Anand, and I wanted to ask that sometimes few startups or businesses, even at the very start of their venture, invest a lot in marketing, but they still do not sustain. So, how should we go about that? Should our firstly focus should be organic marketing or non-paid marketing, or it's also necessary?
Okay, so Plug, a very important question. So basically, what happens is that when we build our product, right? After building a product, the first thing that we need is we need customers to buy that product so that we can generate revenue, right? And when we have the revenue, we can again invest into marketing, get more customers, and get more revenue, right? So when you first launch a product, right? So you should not go for any organic marketing, because organic marketing will take time, and organic marketing will take time, will take money, will take patience, right? And that much thing as an entrepreneur we do not have. We need, since our product is ready, we need customers urgently, right? So according to me, what you should do is that you should go for paid marketing, right? For example, you should go for Google AdWords, right? So Google AdWords is an marketing technique where you can get very pinpoint, specific, very clear cut traffic, what you want, who are really interested in buying your product. And let's say you invested, let's say 5,000 rupees into Google AdWords, so you can easily get few leads, let's say 10-20 leads from that. But those 10-20 leads are actually the customers who need that product, right? They are the exact customers who need the product. You can sell your product to those customers and then get more money, and then again put into AdWords. And after your this revenue generation is stable, once your paid marketing and customers and revenue and this chain is stable, then you should set up a separate team where you can have some organic marketing, have a digital marketing team which can which can do marketing organically and get more leads from there also. So at the start it should be the paid marketing stuff, such that you can directly get the customers on board it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the great advice.
Okay, any other question from some of the students? Students, please be a little bit quicker. We do not have much time.
Anyways, if anyone is having any question at the last, yeah, so you can send me an email at anuj@cloudshopee.com. I'll be happy to assist you at anything or everything. Even if you want to discuss your business ideas, I'll be open to it.
Thank you. Definitely we will do that. Thank you. So now I would like to call Mr. Saket Kumar, Head Innovation and IPR, AIDC, for the vote of thanks to our second speaker. Saket sir, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Anuj sir, to come here. So again, it is an honor for me to express my gratitude to you on the behalf of Amity Innovation and Design Center and Institutions Innovation Council. And it will be very grateful that you are here to share your story of entrepreneurship, right? And I hope your experience will definitely give inspiration to all the students. And the students will follow you, and we will hope it.
Sure.
So thank you so much, Anuj sir.
Thank you.
Am I audible?
Thanks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Saket. Yeah.
Thank you one and all. Thank you all the faculty members who joined this session today. Thank you students.
Okay.
So with this, I am closing this session now. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anuj, once again.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.